You know, something that's always piqued my interest in this life is the idea of time travel. This thought that time itself is malleable and you can bend it and you can change it and you can view it. And of course that calls into question, what even is time? We still have no idea what time is, but that doesn't matter for this video. You know, over the years, I've seen a ton of like time travelers, time travel encounter type deal videos on YouTube and articles on the internet. And let's be real, like most of them are probably fake or they're just like completely bogus and they are lying. Like this picture that you've probably all seen of the hipster that was at a bridge opening in 1941. He looks like he's kind of wearing modern clothes and he just looks like a hippie. But to me, that just is like, you know what? He's just a trendsetter for the time. I don't think that's weird. I think that guy's just, he was probably weird in that time, but he was probably just wearing those glasses because he thought it looked cool. I mean, that's literally probably the only reason. That's the explanation for that. Then there's this picture of some guy in 1943 using a cell phone in a movie, which is impossible because they wouldn't have even had an idea of what a cell phone was in 1943. But I mean, it could have just been something like, I don't know, he's like listening, I don't know, man, okay? Then there's a more recent one from 2003, and this is where it starts to get juicy, let me tell you. When a guy named Andrew Carlson supposedly got arrested in March of that same year for violating the stock market exchange rules. Now, what did Andrew Carlson do, you might be asking? Well, you see, he made 126 extremely high-risk stock trades that year in March and was successful on every single one of them. So successful that he actually started with 800 bucks and he ended up with $350 million. 800 to 350 million. I mean, of course, that's gonna pique the interest of authorities if some dude somehow got $350 million from 800, which then had him arrested, supposedly. And when he was arrested, he got set down for an interview and whatnot, and he claimed to be from 200 years in the future. And he actually offered to tell authorities that arrested him where Osama bin Laden was, and he also offered to give them the cure for AIDS if he would be released. Which are two completely, like, hilarious and weird things to me. Like, imagine being this cop that arrested this guy. You're sitting him down, you're interrogating him, and you're like, all right, man, you're gonna go to jail for money laundering. And he's like, if I tell you how to cure AIDS and where to find Osama bin Laden, will you let me go? Like, it's just so random to me. And apparently after this, his bail was posted by a mysterious man, and he was let go, and then he never came back for his court date after that, and he was never seen from or heard from again. Now, this is actually pretty cool, and I think it has more credence since it's more recent. But imagine if that was actually a real person. Who knows? But that is still not as juicy, not as cool as something that involves a goofy little thing named the Vatican. So you probably heard a bunch of stuff about the Vatican, things they're hiding, things they're not telling the truth about. But specifically, I want to focus on one thing, one device that the Vatican supposedly has. And this device allows a person or people around it to view any moment in history, like through a screen. So this device is called the chronovisor, and it was invented by a bunch of people, but specifically it was invented by a guy named Pellegrino Arnetti. Yeah, that was cool. And this happened in the 1950s, and he did this, supposedly, with the help of 12 known scientists, like 12 famous scientists. Specifically, 2 of them were named. Now, the rest of them wanted to remain anonymous, which might be a convenient, like, cop-out. But the 2 that were named were actually huge scientists. Werner von Braun, which is credited as literally the father of rocket science, and then there was Enrico Fermi, which is the person that invented the nuclear reactor. So those were the 2 people that he said worked on this chronovisor device with him, and they invented this device. So, I mean, these guys were smart, they were the big brains of the 50s, they were geniuses. This chronovisor device, you could say, was this huge piece of metal that had antennas sticking up out of different parts of it, and it was made out of like what they called unknown metals. But the way this device worked was that the device was able to take in light and any sound wave on any existing wavelength. Like every single wavelength in the air, it can take it in and produce an image of whatever that wavelength is. And through these antennas, it would draw in these light and sound waves, and theoretically, it was supposed to display whatever it picked up on this like display screen. And apparently, you could aim this device in a certain way, and it would pick up like a certain time of history or a certain wavelength, and you could kind of fine-tune it based off of whatever it was picking up. And according to Arnetti, right after the device was completed and right after it got done, this entire 12-man team, they sat around this table and they watched speeches from history. They found speeches from Mussolini, from Napoleon, and from other people in ancient Rome. They watched old battles happen, like live on the battlefield. But believe it or not, it does get crazier than watching speeches and battles, because using this chronovisor device, they were apparently able to view Jesus's last days. And they watched anything from the Last Supper to his crucifixion. And this is where it starts to get crazy, of course. These mad lads around this table were watching Jesus's last days, and then what they did was they took a picture of the LCD, whatever screen it was on the chronovisor, and they took a picture of Jesus being crucified on the cross, which is the picture you're seeing right now, of course. Now this picture, obviously, it's kind of uncanny valley looking, but apparently right after it was released to the public, it was like debunked, and they were like, oh, this guy's a fraud, he didn't invent the chronovisor. And apparently this picture came from like a postcard from Europe of some kind, I don't know. So yeah, it's safe to say after these like photos were debunked of the last days and of Jesus on the cross, his career was like, you know what, this guy's a fake, he's a fraud, he's lying, he's pretty much canceled, let's be real. But let me posit this to you. What if it actually wasn't debunked? What if these 12 literal insane guys, or whoever was there, invented a device that could be a looking glass back through history? What if they somehow were able to turn back time to the good old days and view anything in any moment that they wanted to? And what if the picture of, Jesus on the cross is a real image that is actually canon from life, and that, it's real? And what if this freaked out the powers that be so much to where they had to make up this story that this postcard was where he copied it from, and that's what debunked him? So they had to release that to the public real quick, and they told everyone, that Enigma was fake and he was fraud, but he really wasn't. They were the frauds by making it seem like he was the fraud. Now hear me out. What if he was right this whole time? And what if, Fermi and von Braun, the people that worked on him with it, what if they were also there? And see, their names weren't even released. They were on this project until they died. I mean, it's starting to sound a little fishy to me. I promise I'm not insane. But what if it was real? I mean, it probably wasn't real, but nothing on this earth seems real all the time. And what if these crazy people in 1950 actually invented a device that did this, and the Vatican took it from them and are now storing it in their vault? Thoughts? Anyways, that's it for this insane little rant video. Hope you like the style, hope you like the vibe of it, because I would love to do more like this. This is what I do with my friends. I just get on here and do these random tangents, and I have a ton more that I could do. So if you do like this, let me know. Leave a like, please. I'd appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the other side if the Vatican doesn't get me first. Peace.